Hello, this is Jim Craddock. Today is August 15th, 2025, and I have not recorded a video in quite some time. And the reasons for that is that I have been mostly broadcasting via my ChatGPT threads, which are located in the latest IPSS drop. So if you can figure that out, you can basically kind of get a day-to-day, blow-by-blow of what I've been going through. Uh, it hasn't been all that hard until this week. I mean, it has obviously been hard, but uh, I, I've, I don't know. This thing throws new things at you, and each new thing uh, is it causes these existential issues and especially something that's like completely something that you haven't experienced before, which is kind of rare at this point. Honestly, I've experienced so much with this that for it to throw something completely new at me is pretty rare. Anyway, but this week we had something new, and a little bit of a humorous story, but not so humorous just because it pisses me off. But on Wednesday, we were having work done in our backyard for the new pool, and I took my dogs to my mom's house, and uh, and then at lunchtime, I needed to run an errand, and on the way there, I saw this turtle over in the ditch on this street that's out on. It's kind of the major east-west street north of my house. It's just one lane each direction, but and there's construction and there's a bridge out to the east of my house, so there's not that much traffic on the road right now. And I saw this turtle, and it's big, and I thought it was a turtle, but wasn't sure. So, and on the way back, it was in the road, and so I thought, okay, I'll stop. I do this, and I usually move the turtle. Well, this one was a snapping turtle, which I have never dealt with before, and I was smart enough to not reach down there with my hand, and I tried to kind of kick it across the road, like push it with my foot, not kick it, but push it with my foot, and it turned around and it snapped at my foot at one time, and it actually did just grab the tip end of my shoe, and I jumped and kind of twisted away from it like this, and I felt this horrible pain in my side. Uh, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, it wasn't that high, but it was pretty sharp. Let's say, going from 0 to 5. It just an instant, and uh, so I decided to get back in the car, went home, and the pain persisted, and the pain was with me that night, and it's if I cough or laugh, or if I poke up under my ribs, if I push on the ribs themselves, no pain. Okay, well, except right at the very bottom. But if I reach up kind of under the ribs and push, I can cause pain. And like jostling in the car hurts. Anything that jolts me hurts. And so today's Friday. It's 48 hours later. And it's still there, at least as bad as it was. And I'm taking Advils, which I don't believe in because of my kidneys and everything. But at this point, I've kind of stopped caring about caring, I guess. And so I'm taking Advils, and that maybe they help some. Uh, I don't really know. But it kind of, I mean, kind of feels like other areas are starting to hurt. I don't know. So it feels like there's something on my right shoulder blade that hurts now, and I don't know if that's true or not. Well, it's definitely hurting. I don't know. I've had a hurt in the area before, so I'm not gonna freak out about that one. But that one just started like within the last couple hours. Anyway, it's what you would expect, which is that you can't know what to expect because they redacted the science. And so I'm dealing with that. It's difficult. I can't roll over in bed very easily. I can't. Yeah, it's just difficult. You stand up slowly. You don't like, for example, things that you would take for granted, like stopping a door with your arm. Well, that causes jolt to go through your body, and that would hurt. Uh, and so, I've been talking with Chad about it, and our kind of the things that we narrowed it down to would be a diaphragm tear or something, which possible, right? Or some type of costochondritis, which I've had before, and this is definitely not that, uh, because it's just not that. I've had that more than once, and I know exactly what it feels like. I used to when I would sneeze when I was about, I don't know, 26, something like that. It was after all this started, actually. Uh, and I would sneeze, and my something would pop out of location in my chest, and it would hurt for like 3 or 4 days if I sneezed that hard. Uh, uh, and so that was costochondritis, and and so I know what that feels like. Anyway, I lean towards the spleen issue because I know the spleen is under stress, and so the spleen's there to clean up blood cells from your body, and work on your immune system. And in my case, supposedly, I think it starts making blood cells at some point. But the whole thing is the vasculature of my body is very reduced. Uh, and so therefore things are tight. And in the article, it talked about how, the people with the condition, they, eventually they don't even walk around because they're afraid of silently tearing blood vessels in their stomach and stopping their stomach from working. Uh, yeah, so I'm sure that they didn't jump around like I did there. Anyway, I I'm dealing with it. I don't know exactly, uh, what's next or what's going on or anything. I've been working now for, I think, 3, 4 weeks. I don't know, maybe 3 weeks. And I mean, I can work. My mind is clear. These recent pains are more than I would prefer. Uh, so, that's where we're at, folks. I've got a redacted illness. Now, I have tried to use that pause before, and sometimes it does not work. So we will find out if I just recorded all of that or not. But anyway, uh, yeah, I, I'm just trying to negotiate one day at a time. Would be the truth. It's nice to see the beginning of the pool going in. Uh, I it's nice to help out at work and get my son moved in. I moved my son into his new place at college this weekend. I didn't do much of the carrying. I unloaded his car, but there was a whole truck full of stuff that he and his roommate unloaded. And I got to see that. He had some bushes that need trimmed, so I set him a hedge trimmer that goes with his uh, Ryobi batteries that I know he has for his other tools. And I'm super proud of him. And I just been eating whatever I want. I really don't care. The only thing I don't eat is ice cream or drink alcohol. But cookies, yeah. Cake, sure. Cheese, absolutely. You know, uh, I potato chips. I don't know how many bags of potato chips I have gone through in the last month, but I would say 2 to 3 a week at least. Yeah. So yeah, so 10 bags maybe. I don't know. Uh I just bought a pair of 30-inch shorts for event that I'm going to tomorrow. And I haven't worn 30-inch shorts I since high school, I think maybe. I don't know. Uh so that's interesting. Of course, they're stretchy now, so that you can get to kind of cheat there. But uh anyway, I'm sure I look healthy to people, which is very frustrating for me in a way. And then in a way, it's great because I can go to karaoke. No one thinks, oh, that guy's dying. Uh, and I walk slowly. The legs have definitely been an issue over the last month. Uh, uh, I had, after I got back, I had 1 day of a systemic infection. And I mean, it was a systemic candidiasis. It was in my blood and everything. And I could feel it. I mean, there was no mistaking it. But at the same time, no fever, everything else, because my parasympathetic system is augmented, I guess would be a better word. And and then the next day, that was gone. So you can imagine the other types of changes I've been dealing with. Obviously, digestion has been an issue. It's stuff is going through. That's all that matters because I only really need the electrolytes. So I I'm persevering, I guess would be the best thing. But anyway, so I have a redacted condition, and you should read my book if this is the first video that you've watched for some reason of mine. Hey, I've never done this before, so I know there's buttons down here for like and subscribe. That's the first time I've ever thought of saying that during one of these buttons, during one of these videos. But yeah, please go ahead and do that. Uh, and I people need to know about uh, the science behind my condition. My condition's honestly not that important in and of itself, but the science behind it is extremely important. And uh, they threw it away. And by throwing it away, they threw away something that says, hey, we co-evolved with a fungus. And that's the only explanation. And I'm going to go through this one more time just to make sure everybody understands this. So when your system gets changed like mine did, okay, uh, you are now the optimal path for the candidiasis infection. It is optimized for my configuration, not your configuration, for my configuration. Because in my configuration, it can persist the longest. Okay, so if you think about candidiasis adapting, okay, and I call it a biochemical computer for a reason because it learns. And so over time, how is it going to learn the most? All right. It's going to learn the most from a host that it can stay in the longest. All right. Because that's one colony. All right. And so if it comes in and it destroys your system, it really doesn't learn much from that. And it also doesn't maximize ATP usage. So if it instead comes in and has a goal of maximizing ATP usage, and it finds a system that says, "Oh, I'm not going to fight you off, okay, but I will discourage you by doing things like changing pH and electrolyte levels and all these different things." Okay, well now that's perfect because actually what the body is doing there is at one at a time breaking down barriers for this candidiasis to go to the next step. All right. And so the body changes something. The candidiasis is like, cool, I can hang out. And it will do whatever it's doing in that phase. If it's going through the epidermal layer, if it's attacking, the legs or the arms or whatever. And then, at some point, it gets to where it's done and it changes all right? And that causes the body to then react in some other way. And now the body is doing something else and it allows it to the next step. And it keeps going and it keeps going. Uh, and so what that means is that we co-evolved, and we co-evolved in a state like my body, not like your body. Which I find very interesting. I think everybody should find very interesting, because that means we had this suction heart at some point, uh, and then at some point we changed how our body operates. And I have a lot about this in the book, and I actually have uh, a what do you call them? I have a podcast about it. So you can check that. I'll try to link it here if I remember. But anyway, uh, this is Jim Craddock. I have terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major, and you should read Redacted Science. Thanks.